me make sure that we're online here.
Jim?
Yeah.
Before you all get started,
Yeah.
I've had a bad 2 weeks.
Okay.
Extremely bad cold. It affected my sensibilities, and I apologize for my vitriolic and irascible attitude.
We figured you were having a bad day, so everybody's entitled to a bad day.
I tried modifying one of my prescriptions. I was keeping a close watch of it, and I don't know if it was that or just super bad head cold and depression setting in for some other things, but I just got nasty, and I apologize.
Okay.
We'll see how things happen. I went back on the original dosage for the prescription, so.
Okay.
Apologies to all.
Okay.
I miss the nastiness. What happened?
Oh, see.
We were trying to get some and weren't involved.
All right, fine. I'm usually sleeping.
Glad you're doing better, Tony. That's good.
Okay. Well, hey, so this is the December meeting. Looks like we have a light crowd, which is okay. Glad you all could join. This will probably go relatively quickly. My only question is, I am trying to think if Garrick, you have to help me out here. Can we actually take votes tonight? Don't we have to there has to be a quorum, right? I forgot what the quorum was.
Something to do with the officers or something.
Yep.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Pull out the Constitution and read it while you guys are talking.
Well, at the very least, we should go over the Secretary's report. So I'm going to bring that report up. I know folks probably haven't had an opportunity to see it yet because I think it just got finished. So let me share this and kind of go through the report. And so give me a second here so I can bring it up. Okay, and then let me share it here so folks can. Okay, what do we got here?
I've got an answer for you already. We can. It's a quorum if we have the president, 2 board of directors, and 3 general members.
Okay, what is it? The what? The quorum of what?
A quorum of 2 directors and the president, and 3 regular members.
Okay, well we got Grant and we got Randy and that's 2 directors. The president's here and 3 members. Looks like John, Mark, Tony, and I think Brian and Rich and David all suffice for that. John, Mark. So I think we're good. So cool. Well, then we will go on with our evening. So Brian, take it away.
Well, basically, it was a very long meeting, and I thought a lot of talking, going back and forth. So if it's documents confusing, that's on me. But I was trying to get details. Basically, we covered the FES report from Tony. Excuse me. And you could probably read it as I'm reading it to you. We talked about our expenses, income for auction, how many paid dinners we had. And we sold 142 items. I believe that's what that was referring to.
Okay.
We just have decided on the fest for next year to be May 14th and 15th. I did note Tony's handing over the fest activities to Grant, but I didn't say what time it was, if it was immediate. I don't know if we need that.
It is. I don't
is
know that it needs to be in
transferred
here,
as it were.
Yep.
we discussed having our yearly picnic, which will be coming up. So whoever can host it is sort of the one in charge.
Okay.
Yeah, I noted you had received email about the upcoming tables and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Tony and Grant will discuss that probably at this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I don't know why I'm coughing. We had a discussion on the election audit with Tony and Randy, and they'll have a short report at this meeting. Let's see, Bob Swerger talked about things that we had forgotten about from last year to this year. The coffee and Danish, which that'll be corrected upcoming events. He moved to reimburse the travel and rental expenses for people that bring equipment for the auction. That did not pass. We will have a petty cash fund. Oh, why those are highlighted. Anyway,
Okay.
unused funds will be carried over to next year and maintained at $500.
Okay.
We'll have registration started in the middle of January, and we'll try to get everybody through attendee list as Randy asked for. There'll be changes to the attendee list, which Randy will discuss it on a Discord discussion about the attendee list.
Yep.
We had a discussion about purchasing our own PA and projector equipment. Ouch. And Eric is going to set up, like as a director, to maintain the list so we know what equipment we have and we don't lose it or sell it accidentally. Eric brought up motion that we will close the books for this fest, so no more changes to the spreadsheet. And any unused funds will go to a person's dues for 1 year or to just as a donation. And we ended the meeting at 9:20, which is about an hour and a half meeting.
Okay.
Doc X.
Yep.
I don't know if there's anything else. Let me know.
Okay. So I think I don't think it's Eric that was. I mean, I'm sure Eric I think you brought up the statement. I think we need to do that at the board level. We set up director positions at the board level. So I think Eric suggested, or I would say suggested, setting up.
Yes,
Eric, does that?
Do that? I think it's a great idea. I don't know if I suggested that though.
Yeah, I don't remember if you did or not. I know somebody did, and I think it's a great idea. We didn't have time to go through it. Maybe just put. Maybe we should just put it was suggested. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Suggested to set up a directorship to maintain a club equipment list, and then this was Eric. Let's see, made a motion to close the books. Okay, so anyone have any comments? Other comments on the secretary's report?
Jim, I'd make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor.
I'll second.
Terry, and Rich we have a second from Rich. All those in favor, please signify.
Aye.
Okay. And any opposed? Okay, so that is complete. And
Can I add
Go ahead.
something to the Treasury? I haven't heard of anybody who did want a refund or, felt like they wanted a refund and couldn't get one. So if that is the case or something, let me know, so we can at least know the best way to do things going forward.
I think Tony can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I saw a couple emails come through. One from a member who wanted to make sure that their refund had been processed, and then another one who specifically asked that all of the monies be refunded, and they wanted to they wanted their information removed from our environment. Evidently, they're cleaning up their online presence, and they wanted everything scrubbed off. So that was kind of an interesting request. I'm aware of those two that happened after the last meeting.
That's 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Oh, did we
And,
ever issue him a refund?
There were 2 requests for funds over and above the 2021 dues to be carried over for 2022 fest fees. So Grant has those. Well, Grant has one of those names in the 2022 preliminary spreadsheet, and I'm not sure if I put the other one in or not. But I will check up on that, and that should be the only 2 carryovers, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, that is kind of against what we moved for, although, I don't want to.
Well,
I think it's fine.
One thing, Eric. One thing I would say, Eric. One of the one that I know about, that promise was made before we had the meeting last week. So this was something we need to keep our word on that one.
Yeah, and that we definitely want to. Yeah, anybody who wanted a refund before the show, I mean, that's of course. Anybody who gets one after, though, it'll need to be some kind of an exception because of the motion and just to maintain the books a little easier.
Correct. Well, I'm assuming, why don't you and Grant and Tony get together and make sure that's all taken care of? All I know about is the requests that came in. There wasn't many of them, but there were a few. And the one was worded as if it had already been requested and approved, but they were trying to verify that it had been done, and I think we missed it. So, and the other one is kind of an interesting one, the one where they were, requesting that they just completely be excised from our environment. I mean, it wasn't a malicious thing. It wasn't like they were upset. Because I know the person, and they don't, they're not upset with the club or anything. I think they're just, they're getting a little bit concerned about where all their data is, and they're not participating in the club at the moment. So they requested that. So, okay, so that was your question. I did bring up the treasurer's report. It's kind of a new format. So maybe you can, I know we got some new business to talk about, some specific software, but maybe you want to kind of lead us through this and kind of give us a heads up on what we're looking at here.
Quick question, Jim.
So
Are we recording?
Hold on. Yes, we are.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yep. Go ahead.
So I spent a while putting our numbers into some new software, accounting software, and this is the balance sheet that it came up with, and it matches what what our actual accounts look like. So in the past months, we had a report that showed our balances, but also the transactions that occurred in the month. And I do have a transaction report, but they're 2 different reports. So this is a balance sheet, and the other report would be a transaction report. So as of 11:30, we have a total of $17,482.78 in the bank account, with nothing in the PayPal account. And that's basically it. We have the Cocoa Fest fund listed at the bottom, which is still maintained at $500, but it doesn't affect the total amount that we have, $17,482.78. So that's where we're sitting at.
Okay, sounds good. I can bring up that other report if you want. Is it something you want?
Let's take a look, because this is this will kind of go towards our new business about the software. But this is how I've laid it out.
Is it by date? Is it that's the one you want me to?
Let's do by account. Let's do the by account because that makes it easier to understand.
Okay.
So here at the top, we've got everything going on in our checking account. That's, account number 1,000. So we had a bunch of deposits from PayPal and interest of 66 cents. Moving on, most of our transaction occurred in PayPal. So that's account 1010. You can see I think there was an accidental purchase somebody made, and there was CocoFest income included in this last month. Microsoft payment. We bought a printer, or we paid we paid Jim Brain for the printer supplies, and so on. And moving down to 1,100 petty cash. I requested the grant for my mileage. He approved the request, so we took it out of the CocoFest fund. I didn't really want the money, so I put it back into his fund.
Okay.
So that's why it shows 0, because it took it and then gave it back. Checks, we got general funds. Yeah, the rest is kind of not really anything. We funded the 3210 account. We funded the CocoFest fund, but otherwise, yeah, that's it.
Okay. So, obviously, the details here, and I'll see if there's a way to, there's nothing secret about this. We can present it. Now that it's 2 files, I'll have to find a way to make sure that, the 2 different files are available for people to peruse. However, the net is that between November and December, with the conclusion of CocoFest, the growth of the organization totaled a little over $3,000. So still putting us in a very healthy position from a balance sheet or financial perspective.
Yeah, and once I get the final report for CocoFest, I'll be able to put that into the software so we can kind of see where the money went in this software from year to year. So it'll generate reports similar to this one where it can show the difference. And we could also export this data and make bar charts and all kinds of stuff.
Okay. And obviously we can talk about that during our kind of new business, because we've got a larger topic around, this has been created from some specialized software that kind of helps, keep track. We're getting to the point now where it's been this way for a while, and I know Tony can attest to this, but tracking all the puts and takes, especially around CocoFest, including all of the nuances around membership, and if you come to CocoFest, your membership is paid for, and if you have a table, and then with last year, we've got some people that they wanted to roll their attendance money over to future years' dues because they weren't able to come, and so it's kind of complicated actually, and so something to help our treasurer with that activity, as well as the CocoFest coordinator, would be probably a welcome addition. But we can talk about that more when it comes into the new business area. But at the very least, this is our balance sheet for the current month, for last month, and I'm looking for any comments, a motion to approve, or I guess whatever else. Those are the 2 things I guess we want to, one or the other.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve, and who seconded?
I did.
Terry.
Okay. Sorry.
Any comments, concerns about the current treasurer's report? Okay.
I'd just like to say I think we're going in a good direction.
Yeah. Having the detail is a good thing, and I should bring it up in the other one, but I know that it would be really nice to have a yearly budget that we could, point to, and obviously putting this information here is a good first step on that. So I have a properly formatted motion and a second, and so no comments. Anyone who is in favor of approving the minutes as presented, or approving the treasurer's report as presented, please signify.
Aye.
All right. I
Aye.
got some hands. Cool. Anyone opposed? Okay. Motion carries. And that is those two things. And so the next item is Grant. I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to let us know about Cocoa Fest planning, but I put you in the agenda if you wish. So it's up to you.
Yep. I just had only thing I really want to cover tonight is I think we need to button down the cost and for emissions and tables and everything like that. So I'll be quick and easy on this one. I still suggest that we should keep Cocoa Fest free for
Okay.
everybody. I suggest that we also keep the yearly dues at $15. So therefore, you want to be a member, you pay $15 at the door or online. And then we keep the table fees the same as last year. And then I think this will be a good way. This way we can kind of adjust it as we need to for the next Cocoa Fest. We're just kind of keeping everything similar except for free admission.
Okay. Why don't I put that in as a new business item since
Okay.
Since I mean obviously we know it, but since that's kind of a business item as opposed to an update, let me put that in there real quick. Anything just informational around the planning activity itself? Anything else that you need from the group between now and next month?
Nope. I think we're in pretty good shape right now until we get everything up and going, and then once we probably next month I'll probably going through the community and asking for assistance on badge diagrams and stuff like that as far as for the new badge logos and stuff like that. Next
Sounds
year
good.
Also, so other than that, that's pretty much it. So next month will be the busy month.
Okay, cool. So as so I have business. Well, before we get into old business, Eric or Brian brought up one thing, and it's on my task item. We were scheduling some time to talk through, Randy. I know I'm behind on scheduling a discussion with you and Eric around some changes to Attendee list. We were planning to do that, and then this thing came from the IRS that we had to drop and focus on because there's a time limit on getting it back. So I probably won't schedule anything next week because it's Christmas, but maybe later on the week following, I'll try to get a meeting for us together so we can have that conversation that you wanted, either before the end of the year or right after the beginning of the year. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. In the old business, Tony, I know you reported out in our recent board of directors meeting, but for the regular business meeting, was hoping you could give us a synopsis of the audit activity that occurred on the recent elections.
Oh, I'm live.
Oh, yes, you are.
Uh-oh. Good thing I didn't yell out something. Oh, man, I got to go back a month. If I recall correctly, well, first of all, the audit resulted in passing. What can I tell you? The system passed the audit. No people that were members in good
Nominated?
standing.
Oh, okay.
Members in good standing were disenfranchised. That was of prime importance. The second one was that none of the people who were nominated were members in bad standing, so they were all members in good standing. And all the people who made the nominations were also members in good standings. And those were the 3 points that were under investigation, if you will, or verification. So at this point in time, or at that point in time, the system passed the audit. on Tandy List, or the system on Tandy List, passed the audit on those 3 items. And those 3
Okay.
items were very important.
Okay. So I think that closes out that particular piece of business. Is there any other questions that folks had about the audit or the election process? Okay. Thank you very much. I'm not aware of any more old business. Brian, Eric, John, Mark, you guys aware of any additional old business that we need to take care of?
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, then I will switch into new business, and I'm going to turn it over to Eric. So this concerns, as we discussed earlier, working on some of our finances, and there's some solutions that I think Eric is interested. So I don't want to take away. So I'm going to let Eric start up and tell us what he's got.
Sure. So there's some software that I was using to generate those reports, and I'd like to purchase that software. It is not free, sadly. Now we did use free software to generate the CocoFest reports, or sorry, the previous year's reports, but it's very unwieldy. I use this software called GNU Cache, and it has some problems. Mainly the reports are just awful, and also entering data is very tricky. You can make mistakes the system doesn't really tell you about. You can delete stuff and then you have no idea what it was, and there is no undo. You can't undo it. So it's not very good software. So I found this software called Accounts, which is not a very creative name, but they offer an online version. This is what it looks like. They also offer a desktop version, which is a little cheaper, but not much. And the online version allows us to have up to 5 people log in and use it, even at the same time.
Cool.
It was an upgrade. So this is what I've got set up. You can ignore the background. So this is our list of accounts that I've set up. I kind of determine where we want to group money. Generally, it seems like we do mostly CocoFest. So we have a lot of CocoFest categories that we can monitor, what we're spending money on. The checking account and PayPal account, that's where you're going to enter most of your transactions. So here in the checking account is all of our transactions back to 2020, because I didn't go back further. I just did 2020. And then PayPal here. Now, our bank allows us to import automatically, but PayPal, that doesn't work. So I have to enter all these manually each month. That's not a big deal though, because it's just a few lines for every transaction.
Is it something that PayPal import is a kind of a lot of people use PayPal.
And it would be nice. It would be nice. And in fact, I emailed the company about that, and they said that they don't currently support it. Sounds like it's not something they want to support right now. To me, that's not a deal breaker, because we're talking about 10 minutes and I'll have all this data entered. It's just doing it for the year took a few days, but doing it for a month is no big deal. And then when you enter a transaction, you choose where the money is coming from or going to. And that, if it's a deposit, that means the money is coming from, PayPal. If it's a payment, then that means the money is going to office supplies or whatever. So this is kind of confusing too, because you can't see the categories, but it mostly works fine. I was able to generate those reports. It was no big deal. I believe we'd be able to train people in to use this software just fine. The reports are somewhat limited. They don't have a whole lot, but the reports that you saw are the default reports, and they're pretty good at what they do. I also emailed support about or actually I read the manual about how to make a custom report, and it looks like you do it through some SQL statements. So it's kind of complicated and it's not documented. But when I was reading through the manual, it said, send support what you want your report to look like, and we'll let you know if it's possible. And that request is free. So it sounds like we can just have them design a report for us based on what we want. So here's the website. The company is called Software for Nonprofits, and the software in particular is a little special. It's not regular accounting software because it also does what's called fund-based accounting. And that means you can track your money not only by account, but by the fund. And we have one fund, the CocoFest fund, but we may want in the future to have more funds, like a trust or electronics fund, PA fund, and this is money that we could give somebody a card for. You spend it, you tell me what you spent it on, and I'll mark it down as being spent on the fund. So, there's only 2 or 3 that can do that. There's Quicken, of course. There's a second software called I don't remember what it was called, but the problem with those 2 softwares, Quicken and this other software I found that does it, is they're about $60 to $80 a month, which is way out of our budget, in my opinion. So I found this software which runs 100 and some. Let me pull up the pricing.
It's pricing's right there.
But this is the old pricing, so we have to look at the 2022 pricing, and we are looking at $165 a year. So it's a little expensive, but it's not ridiculously expensive. And if we calculate that out, 165 divided by 12 is $13.75 a month. It's a lot better than $60 a month. So I'd like us to purchase this software as of January. We can't buy it now because the first year for the old pricing was $220, so we'll save money by just waiting a couple weeks. But I'd like to make a motion to buy the software yearly for $165, and just continue using it going forward.
Okay. So that's a motion on the table, and I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that.
I got a question.
Sorry. Hold on. We'll do questions after we do a second.
Okay.
Who was it that seconded? Was that you, Brian?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a second, Brian, to purchase the software. And yes, times for questions or comments. So Grant?
Yeah, I think Quicken is available, and it's only like $60 a year is what I pay.
Yes, but that's not for nonprofits. A nonprofit, QuickBooks.
QuickBooks, yeah, not Quicken.
Yeah.
Quicken's for personal use.
Yeah, so Quicken, and we can use personal. Like this GNU Cache does the job. It's just very cumbersome. But here, QuickBooks to get less functionality than this software gives us, this new software, is $40 a month. And yeah, you get to save 50%, but only for the first 3 months.
I guess my question is, though, because I know that on Quicken, you can run a business off of that. So I don't see why we couldn't use Quicken, even though it's not, nonprofit. I wouldn't think it'd be much different. You just got to keep track of your income expenses.
There's an issue with, it is a bit cheaper for $50, $35. The issue with regular accounting software is it can't track by fund. So yes, we can track that manually. Yes, we can set up accounts that maybe we have a checking account and we have a fund account. We can certainly do that kind of stuff. The nice thing with this software is number one, it's designed for it. The reports do it. Everything around it is based on the funds. It can also generate the Form 990s for us once we grow past 50,000 a year income.
No, that's never going to happen.
I'm not holding my breath.
You guys say that, but I'm pretty sure that we did. We did 5,000, 6,000 in 2019, 6,700. 50,000 is a ways off from 6,700, but it's not an incredible amount. We're talking maybe within a decade if we continue to grow. But you're right. It's a little overpriced for what you're getting, but it's designed for this purpose. Whereas Quicken, while cheaper, is not designed for a nonprofit accounting system. This runs in the cloud. I'm sure Quicken does too, and allows us to simultaneously access it.
Okay. Hold on. I got a question queued for Rich. But before we move to Rich, Grant, did you have something else you wanted to comment on based on your question? Okay. Rich?
Okay, my question is simply, to what extent are we sort of trapped if we start with this? Or is it possible to export the results in some standard form so that we could switch to some other software if we found a better option in 2 or 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, you can do a transaction report and then save it as. And we can do tab, we can do CSVs, Excel, HTML, and even PDFs. So
okay, that looks good.
We have access to move out at any time.
I would say, just as a comment, I saw that the Quicken apps are really an app, and so that does that having a household that runs on Quicken, it's nice for people that want have it on their own PC, but the web version, it would need to be the simplify function, looks to me like, because that's the only one that's web-based. I really think we should have it be web-based so that it's not tied to being on somebody's PC, which is a little bit more money than the original Quicken one. So just so you were clear, I think one of the requirements, when I talked to Eric, is I said, hey, let's definitely look at software, but see if we can find something that's online so that it's not something we have to dedicate somebody's computer to. We can just have it live in the cloud.
That's right. And this software is on demand. So they serve the software for us. There's a server you connect to with their special IDS client. This client runs on Mac and Windows. Since it runs on Mac, I bet it might work on Linux, but they don't mention it. And allows us to have 5 people at the same time connect to it.
So when you say it's the on-demand version, so is there a web-only access to it, or is it you have to use the app on a computer and connect to the data?
You have to use their special client, but all the data lives on the web. So the data is not on my machine, it lives on the web. And I find that the software does actually work pretty good. I've left it up for hours. There's no trouble with it. It's a little slow, but not that slow. And I can also save files directly to my computer, which was a little surprising. If I go to something that can save, I just got to go to a special drive they set up for us. In my case, it's Client C, and that now we're on my hard drive, and I can just save right to it.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns, comments? Okay. Well, if that's the case, then let me bring up all of us. So we have a motion. It's been seconded. Comments. Time is over, and so I would like to take a vote. The motion is to purchase this license, this yearly license, for $165 of this software. for the club's use. And so all those in favor of purchasing the software, please signify.
Aye.
Okay. And any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And my understanding is that you'll purchase it after the first of the year so that you get the better pricing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I can also train any of you guys on the software. Jim, you may want to use it.
Yep.
And,
I definitely want to have the ability to look in it just because, and it would be nice. Is it possible for us some of the older data in there so that we can do some kind of comparisons year over year and whatnot?
Oh, definitely. It takes time. So I was working on it, of course, for 2020, and I can continue to go back, as I find time available.
Okay, good. Okay, so that is new business topic number 1. Motion's passed, and I have a second new business topic. Grant, here's your chance to shine. So we did at Grant did, just as a precursor, I know not everybody's aware, but we did have a board of directors meeting earlier this month, and Grant suggested some options for fees relative to Cocoa Fest. And so sounds like you've got some recommendations for us for 2022.
Yep, that is correct. So basically, I still think that we should try to make Cocoa Fest free for all attendees. I think that we'll still need to make sure people that register and want to be a member of the club, they'll pay their $15 dues unless we decide to lower them, which might be a topic for later. And I would also suggest that we keep the table prices the same as last year, which was the first table was $20, the second table is $15 for each additional one after the fact. So
okay,
that is my recommendation for the prices. So therefore, this will give Randy plenty of time and hopefully make it easier for him to get the.
Hold on. The first table, was how much?
I think it was
year?
$20.
Yeah.
20. I think it's 25.
Oh, does it go up? I think.
First table was 25, and
oh really?
Huh? I show because on my the spreadsheet I have here, Tony says 20.
And additional is 15.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, this should pan out with the PayPal amounts.
Okay.
So Eric can confirm. But
let me look at he's got we've got our document here, so just give me a second because I know what we
I think the pass was the table I show is at $20 for the first table, $15 for the second additional tables, and the passes were $5, which one person needs to have a pass. That's what I think where the 25 is coming from. I don't think I think of.
Yeah.
I think the first vendor table comes with a pass. That was the way it was displayed or sold. It wasn't like it was $20 and then $5 for a pass. But additional passes.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
Of the first $25, 20 tables specifically was for the table. $5 was for the exhibitor pass. The spreadsheet has it broken out that way, so we knew how many people were being attended as exhibitors. So the first table, the total would be 25 with one person being the exhibitor. But it's really broken out at 20 for the table, 15 for the table, $5 for the passes, because some exhibitors had more than one person as an exhibitor. And it was easier for accounting in the spreadsheet by doing it that way.
Yeah, but the way we actually displayed it online was that your first table was $25. That includes one person. And then it's $5 for additional people and $15 for additional tables.
But I think what I'm hearing here is if we make this motion, just to be kind of pedantic, and sorry, Grant, I'll try to help you out here.
You're fine.
So I think what he's saying is with this motion, it would be the first table is $20. Any additional table is $15. Passes are free. because you're just an attendee, and then people who are just attendees and have no table are also free, no charge, for any number of people. And if you want to pay, if you want to continue to be a member of Glenside, a contributing member with dues, then if you, and here's where I'm going to ask a question, Grant, but if you are an exhibitor, your $20 for exhibitor, or sorry, yeah, for your first table will cover your dues, the $15 dues for the year for a person. And if you are just an attendee without having a table, then you would need to pay $15 to continue to be a contributing member of the club. Am I understanding that correctly? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if you have two, to Tony's point, if you have two exhibitors in a single table, then if you want both of those exhibitors to be members, then you would actually need to pay $30 for that first table if you wanted to be contributing members, because you would need to make up the difference for two.
Well, hold on,
isn't dues 15? It is, but
So
what I'm saying
it's
is
20 plus
10, right?
20 plus 10 would get you to.
It would get you a table and 2 memberships.
I'm confused.
Jim, are you
Okay,
saying?
yeah, because you kind of lost me on the second membership there. So I would assume, like, for example, in my situation, Curtis and I usually get the table. So I would assume that Curtis would purchase his $15 membership on his own. And would
Yeah, it would be, so it'd be 35, I was thinking.
Okay, so that's fine. That's the reason I was asking. So what we're saying is that if you purchase a table, you would pay $20, and that would also give you 1 membership for yourself to the club.
Correct.
For the following year. But if it's like my daughter and I, and we buy a table, it would not give my daughter a membership. If my daughter wanted a membership, then she would need to pay $15 in addition to my $20.
Actually, that's incorrect, because your daughter's in the same household, so your membership's good for the whole family.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Memberships have not been for the whole family.
That's what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Tony. I think that's what we discussed.
Well, that was because it was included because you paid for your other additional family members, and their fee for attending the show covered their membership dues.
That is not the intent. That would be strictly attendance.
Right.
Starting back in '85, the membership dues covered a family membership of the same household.
Everybody becomes a member
in the household. That is correct.
Right. I think we discussed it, though, and the problem with this is that we end up getting members who don't really want to be members of our club. So we need...
I agree.
Forward, and maybe we can make a motion on this, but I think going forward, the membership really should only apply to who is paying the money for being a member.
Well, I will tell you this, and you can put that in your spinning wheels. I am a paid member in good standing. My wife is an associate member underneath that membership, and she will not be paying a whole $15 extra out of the family funds for a membership per se.
Right.
That's the way it originally was set up to work. It may not have gotten into the Constitution, but that was the acceptance.
I can see
at least between 85 and 2005.
Well, I'm going to say that this might be an issue, because let's say I had a family of 4, and that means I get 4 votes for 1 membership payment. And then somebody else has 2 people in their family, and they get 2 votes for 1 membership payment. I think this could be abused.
Okay.
When
Well,
it
we can.
becomes abused, it can then become an issue. I do not think it will become abused. Personal thoughts on the matter.
And
That's
to
all.
be
I'm
fair,
done.
yeah, to be fair to Grant's only mentioning the dues for Cocoa Fest. He's not necessarily, I mean, I want to make sure, I was bringing it up because, there is a little bit of a connection between the two things, but it sounds like this may be a little bit more contentious, and maybe you want to take it away and come up with some solutions on, okay, how do we truly understand the dues? But what I understand, since we probably need to carve these things to two separate pieces, is that the dues would be, the table is $20 and $15 for each additional, and the passes would be free then, and
Right.
as well as the attendee passes would be free, is what you're proposing.
Correct.
Well, he
Okay.
also he did also include dues in the table,
Mm-hmm.
the first table. So
Yes. Okay. You're right.
That kind of connects these two issues.
It does. It's just that's not any different than I think what Grant is saying, though, is he's saying that he wants to keep that part as it has been in the past, right? In the past, the first table was considered dues for the year for the person who bought the table, right?
So probably the easiest way to explain this, the only difference between this year and last year is we're not collecting door fees.
And no passes, no pass fees.
Exactly. So that's the only
pass.
difference.
So he's saying everything else is the same, but no door fees and no pass fees.
Correct. And this is hopefully will get us a greater attendance in the Chicago area for people who want to attend but didn't want to pay the $20 administration
But
fee.
the people who prepay, then they could end up checking out with a $0 balance. So they could check that they want to come, that they don't want to be, they don't want to pay the yearly membership. Total will be 0, and then they show up, and they're not members. But
that's right.
Jim shows up, pays $15, and him and his daughter are members. It's very confusing for the database.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, this whole family membership is kind of messing, because can children then be members? I mean,
well, my daughter is or has been, so she's listed in the membership database.
Not necessarily a member in good standing. One membership entitles one vote. That is in the bylaws. It doesn't say that there could be, and if a membership is construed as a family membership, that means that one membership gets one vote in the elections by inference.
Dude, that was definitely not part of the voting process. I mean,
and this has caused problems in the past. This is why we've received complaints about, why am I in your database? I don't want to be a member. I'm not a member.
Yeah.
I maybe we need to talk about this at this meeting and move things around, but I don't know how I feel about that. I think everybody who wants to be a voting member should pay the membership fee, $15 fee.
I agree with that if they want to be a voting member. However, as the Constitution reads right now, one membership, family membership, fine. One membership, one vote.
But I don't even know
if Jim Brain's household wants to have 2 voting members, then they both have to be members in good standing, and the definition of a member in good standing is one that has paid their dues.
So you're saying that they become members in bad standing by default?
It could be honorary members. There is a category called honorary members.
We definitely need to lock down this definition in order to get this database right.
There you go.
There's no family member in the Constitution. There's no mention of some kind of a family membership.
But I think what Tony is saying, that a family member, though, does not get the option to vote.
Yeah.
Right.
So basically,
So-
they would be able. Yeah, go ahead.
That
Oh,
was
sorry,
not clear in the past.
So, but Randy, what I think the concern that you're having is what Tony is saying. It's not a concern. You were worried that if a family had 4 members, that'd be 4 votes. And what Tony's saying is, no, the family still is just it's 1 vote, 1 membership. The membership covers 4 people, but they still only get 1 vote in whatever it is, which I think is what you have in Tandy List.
No.
You have each person. So my daughter can vote and have a separate vote from mine.
Yes.
Okay. Well, she doesn't, so I don't know that it really matters.
Because it came with the paying of dues came with purchasing her pass.
Right, you
see,
purchased the pass. Yeah.
Yeah, and see, I would agree with Tony. I don't think the pass was necessary because it's not enough money to cover a membership, right? The pass is only $5. So when my daughter,
that was just a discounted membership. I mean, it didn't have to add up to the exact.
Yeah,
thing.
that was still a membership. My son voted, and he is a proud member. And we filled out the same way.
We definitely need to clear this up.
I think it's fine, but I think it needs to be its own item to clear up. I don't want Grant's thing to get buried in the whole conversation about whether a membership covers 1 person or 4 people or whatever, because I don't think that's the part he's changing. So if it was broken, it's no less broken or no more broken with what he's suggesting.
Suggestion?
Yeah.
Ask for volunteers or appoint a committee to more fully define Section 2 of the bylaws describing what consists of a membership. I mean, I think it's pretty well cut at the present time, but yes, there are some inferences like 1 membership, 1 vote. Membership in good standing means you have paid your annual dues. That is all an inference, but not necessarily stated that way. But if you take those 2 statements in conjunction with each other, it precludes the possibility of an error in voting, provided that thought is brought over to the Tandy List parameters. But if you want better definition, appoint a committee, and we'll make that a separate issue from the Cocoa Fest, with a 30-day limit on figuring it out, so there's no confusion in February.
Okay.
So are you making that a motion, Tony?
Well, we can't make a motion yet because we're in.
Suggestion for Jim to propose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't appoint a committee.
Yeah, I understand, and I got what you're describing. I was just trying to look at what we currently have in the document, so just to try and see if there's how we need to move forward. The general membership, contributing membership, honorary membership. Each contributing member pay an annual dues, $15 per year. Yeah, it just doesn't. The reason I'm pointing it out, the reason I'm thinking about it is we've got a piece of business that's essentially been tabled for a while, which is to address the bylaws, which this stuff's in the bylaws, and so we already have a group of people and already got a committee to kind of work through this. We could just add this to that group. It's got like Rich, myself, Eric, Bob, I think Randy.
I think
you were.
I don't think I'm involved.
Jim,
Yeah, Bob.
I think that right now, if you check your constitution, the changing of the bylaws is out. We've got to start all over again. That's according to the Constitution as it is right now. You have floored it for too long.
Which provision?
All of it.
No. Which provision in the Constitution says we have to start over?
Jim will tell you.
Yeah. That's fine.
Also, to what you're saying, Jim, your daughter is not a paid member. You are. She is not.
Fair enough. Okay.
The same with the Mobleys. There's a lot of them. If you just check, they are members in this 2021, but not members in good standing. Only one family member is signed up.
Okay.
Paid up in good standing.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I think what Randy is saying is that the Attendee list is where we have a challenge, because I think those, like my daughter, if she had voted, I don't know if the calculations is how I understand what you're saying, Randy, that the calculations may have included her vote, even though she's not really allowed to vote.
Because I was told that if you paid, if an attendee was paid for, it didn't matter how. It didn't matter if you paid for her or she paid for herself. That her, admission to Cocoa Fest included a 1-year membership with Glenside.
Not in good standing, though. Not necessarily in good standing.
Okay. I mean, that's part of the problem here.
I disagree. We've got a number of people who came to Cocoa Fest. Cocoa Man and his brother. Maybe not this year, but I think in past years, they both came and they buy the pass and whatever. I think it's very confusing, and I think we should clarify this before we start charging people.
Okay. Well, I will probably take Tony's advice to put a group together. I'll probably do it after the first of the year.
But we need to solve this problem, because Attendee list, in order to open up the registration, and this will be the first year that we're actually selling dues through Attendee list, because previously it was just registrations. So we definitely need to clear this up before we open the gates.
Well, I think the best we can do, because I mean, even if we were to, even if we were to do something about this right now, there's a somewhat lengthy process to make the change, right? Because even if I was to form a committee today to do it, it'd be a change to, probably be a change to the bylaws. It has to be published 30 days, and I mean, there's a bunch of rules that we have to follow in order to make sure that's done and give people time to think about it and then come prepared to vote on it. So it's not going to make it for the middle of January, right? That's even before the next meeting. So I feel like we need to.
Wouldn't that
the next meeting is in January?
If the current bylaws are ambiguous enough, where we could actually say, without changing the bylaws, but to just implement something and then work on actually clarifying the bylaws, that might be a way around it.
I agree with you. I think it's the only thing that we can do. I think what we need to do is we need to say, okay, what was the general consensus of how this was to be done? And I would look to think people like Bob, John Mark, Tony, I think Chris, you're on. Folks who have been Rich. Sorry, didn't mean to forget you, Rich. But I don't think I'm in a position to make have a position on it. But those folks were, and so my suggestion would be, and maybe Rich, maybe you could help me in this. I hate to put you on the spot, but maybe you could get the group of folks like maybe Brian Schubring as well together and get us some kind of reading on what the intent was. Because as I look through the bylaws right now, unfortunately, it does not codify what Tony is saying, and I understood to be true based on Bob and my conversations that we've had over membership. What Tony and Bob are saying is not directly noted in the. It's not prevented. It's not disallowed in the bylaws. It's just not called out specifically. And so I think there's no guidance. from the bylaws at this point, and so we do need to put that guidance in there, but it's going to take a while for us to do it. So if we could just come up with a reading.
If we came up with what we want, and then we can see if it's compatible with the current bylaws, and then we could just go with it, and at that point, and then so long as the bylaws are ambiguous enough, they may be compatible with what we want to do. But we definitely need to find out what we want to do so I can get it in the program.
Can I have the floor for a moment? It's
spelled
out in it's spelled out in the Constitution how it works. It says, quote, and I'm quoting here, general memberships is open to anyone in the community. Okay, so that's what a general member is, open to anyone. Contributing members in good standing are entitled to 1 vote at general meetings of the GCC. A contributing member shall be deemed to be in good standing upon payment of the annual membership dues of the GCC. Period. So that's 1 vote, 1 contributing member, 1 annual membership. I think that's very clear. It doesn't talk about families and.
Yeah, but didn't what about including the annual membership with your attendance to Cocoa Fest? Because that has been is that spelled out anywhere?
No. It says a contributing member is in good standing upon payment of the annual membership dues. If our annual membership dues are 1 pass to Cocoa Fest, then that's the membership dues. If our membership dues are $15 period, then that's what it is. We can define year by year what the membership dues are.
Right.
But I think what I'm hearing is that there is you're right. I read that in the Constitution as well. But what you're saying, contributing member, is fine, but it hinges on what is considered a contributing member. The contributing member in here says payment of the annual dues. But what Randy understood is that I understand 1 vote. I know 1 vote per contributing member. But what Randy is saying is he thought the second pass or a table purchase was akin to the dues. It was a discounted dues for the year. Therefore, that person got a full membership by paying $5. That doesn't run afoul of the Constitution, but that specific thing is not called out anywhere. There's nowhere that it says.
Yeah, and I think I know what you guys are saying, that we should probably put this in the bylaws, but I think really it's up to us every year what we want to charge people. And I think if we want to say you're a contributing member in good standing if you pay XYZ, I think that should be good enough. And we should just decide right now, is that going to be $15 period and then you buy your tables, or what is it going to be?
Tony. Hold on, Tony. I think. Hold on, Bob. Tony, I think, asked for the floor. Tony, was it somebody did? Tony? Oh, it was Terry. Sorry, Terry.
I think Tony had as well, but I was just going to say, if you have a family membership, wouldn't the easiest thing be in the Tandy List database just to create a field that says which of these people that they sign up is the primary member, and then only the primary members get voting rights? Would that be an option?
The system already is designed that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I thought, but I would think would solve that.
But
we're going to have people with multiple people in the household who want to be full members.
I got Bob. I got Bob on.
Yeah, let's think of specific people. Neil from Canada often brings other completely interested in becoming members as table sharers with him. Okay, like he brings in L. Curtis Boyle. Okay, Marlette brings in Petrie. Both of them want to be full paid members, and Petrie comes in usually with a $5 ticket to join Marlette's table. So keep that thought as you consider now.
Okay, I'm gonna I guess this is my time to make the difficult decision. So I think we have to answer or finish Grant's request. I realize there's a connection, but he's not asking for us to do anything different from a membership perspective. So he's saying, can we reduce the cost of the passes to $0 and reduce the entrance fee for attendees to be $0? That's the proposal on the table, correct, Grant?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I must have missed that. I'd like it restated. I came in late. What's going on?
No, that's okay. So there's a motion on or actually, is there an actual motion? Or yeah, it's just discussion. So Grant is requesting. He is planning to make a motion. We were just kind of discussing how the motion should be set up. But I think the best way to describe the request is to, for Cocoa Fest, reduce the cost of the attendee fee to $0. It's currently $15, and reduce the cost of the pass fee that you pay when you buy tables from $5 to $0 for the 2022 Cocoa Fest. That's the primary part of the discussion. We kind of got off on the side with this membership thing, but that's what's thought.
I'd like to ask, is there a third part where we're saying that attendees will not be counted as paid members? They have, what are we doing with paid members? How do they get their membership?
They have to pay $15.
Yeah, they have to pay $15.
Right.
Yeah, that because we are reducing so that's a fair thing. So, and the third piece of it was because we're reducing the fee from $15 to $0 for attendance, that their attendance does not constitute being a member in good, or a contributing member in good standing. They would need to deal with their attendant or their membership fee another way.
Yeah. So to put that simpler, I'm going to buy a table. I'm going to bring my son. I'm going to bring me. I'm going to be a member at $15. My son's going to be a member, another $15. Table is $20. So we're talking about $30, $50. $50 total.
No, table includes one membership.
Your table includes a membership.
So I get a
and that's what previous was. That's how we kind of got off of this thing. A table always has included a membership for the person who bought the table.
Okay.
And and Brant's not asking to change that.
Okay.
He is those. Okay. So we don't actually have a proposal on the table. So Grant, if you would make a proposal, if you wish to do so, then we can work through that.
I thought we already had a second.
I don't know. Brian, did we? I was just going off what Tony said. We got into the midst of this.
It's so long ago I've lost track.
Oh, criminy! And if I stop to go back and check, I gotta stop the stream. So,
I think
what you guys want to do?
Because you said we'll have a discussion after it's seconded.
Okay,
That's
I'm
right.
sorry. Well, then we must have a second. Okay. So, Rich, I'm sorry. So we do have a valid motion on the floor. Yes, Rich.
Comments. Number one, there is a slight risk that if admission is $0, that we will kind of lose track of who's really coming. And if we're printing badges ahead of time, that can be kind of a bother if we have to print 60 badges and then only 30 of the people actually show up. My other comment is that the bylaws can be amended at any general meeting. No notice need be given of a motion to amend the bylaws. The only requirement is a motion to amend the bylaws must be delivered in writing.
Oh, okay. I thought it
know exactly what it is.
Okay, that's fair. But I don't know that I'm going to have enough time between. I mean, my point was more of timing. I can't really do anything for the next few weeks because everybody's doing Christmas celebrations, and then it would be rush, and I hate to rush changes to the bylaws. So
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
So
we do have.
Bob was trying to say that our efforts to amend the bylaws are dead. I think he's confusing that with what happens to a motion if it's tabled. But our efforts were not a motion. They were simply a committee that was formed. So that committee can still exist indefinitely, I would say.
Okay.
I think you'd better study the bylaws some more.
I just did.
Well,
Well,
then you
I'll-
missed it.
I'll take that. Well, let's take that and move that off to the side because it's not pertinent to the conversation we're having right now. So we have a motion. We have a second. We're doing discussion. Is there any other discussion on the?
I would say for Richard's question, I would think that we might have a way. Correct me if I'm wrong, Randy. Is he still here? I don't know if he's still there or not. If we can maybe, like, when you register for tables, you put down like guest in their name, so therefore we have a badge printed up for them. We think that we could probably do that. It's fairly easy.
Small drawing, maybe provide a cash prize or maybe a check that you can spend at Cocoa Fest or something for everybody who pre-registered, and that'll be enough to get people to pre-register.
Yeah, I think that marketing the pre-registration is a quick way to get into the show. You can avoid the lines, that sort of thing. I also think that if you're going to have a meal, you're going to be paying for the meal. So
correct
with pre-registering, so it won't be a zero balance in that case. And in this year, I would like for us to. We will have registrations in Tandy List, and some of them will be a balance of zero. But I want to record that they actually came to the show. I like to record that in Tandy List at registration or at the door or whatever, so that we can make sure that go ahead.
I'd like to make a note. I wanted you to finish your sentence because
sorry. I was done. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to say was this year, and I think it's important, we had over 27 people attend the show who are not members, even to this moment, because we didn't pick up their email addresses. So we've got 27 first-timers, never visited Tandy List ever, and we've got their names, but we have no email address, and they are therefore not members.
Okay, but I think our plan for this year was that the Tandy List, they would be filling out the Tandy List form to become a member. That would be part of the registration process at the door.
Okay, that's of course for the coming event, but
yes.
we did lose them. We did lose them in 2021. I wanted to get that in there. Thank you.
Okay.
A lot of those people were children and people who didn't want to be in the list. Although I wouldn't.
Negative. Most of them were single people.
Okay.
Single attendees.
Well, that would have been that would have covered their dues for what, 2021. So they wouldn't be caught up for next year anyway. So I don't. That's not a big deal.
They're just presently they're paid up, but they're not members, so they couldn't vote.
I think when Bob says they're not members, he means they're not on the Tandy List. We can still call them members even if we don't have an email address.
Yeah,
they're Tandy. Yeah, you can call them what you want, but they are not members. Therefore, they can't vote. They're paid up. Yes, they're in Tandy List. Yes, but we didn't get their email addresses or any other way to contact them.
Well, I mean, that fest was an odd one anyway, as far as paying up your dues, because it happened so late in the year that does that cover your dues for that year or the next year? I mean, we didn't, and then we've got another one that's coming up so quickly as well. So that's all kind of a hot mess. Sorry, I stepped away for a second. I had to go back and review the chat. We actually didn't move or second this. So Randy started in on the conversation because he had a question, and here we are. So
we probably need to put this to bed. So I think if we want to make a motion on this, we should do so. And we can have just a very abbreviated comments, and then we need to vote on it, and we need to move on. We can do the items about what constitutes a membership. That's a task that I'll take ownership of, but I don't think that's pertinent to Grant's request. So Grant, I will let you put a motion on the table if you wish.
I make a motion to make the admission to Cocoa Fest free and to make the passes free as well, and keep the table, the amounts of the tables the same as last year. The first one at 20, the second one at 15. And we didn't discuss this, but also keep the dinners the same price too, at $20 as well.
Okay.
I would second that.
Okay, so I have a second.
Understand that this motion means the first table covers one membership dues.
Yeah, just like it did last year.
I'd
Does the
like a
second
chance
table
to.
cover the second membership dues?
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
2 tables, do you get 2 membership dues?
No.
Okay.
I'm not in favor of this, so let's have a vote. I'd sure help to like to knock this one down. This is not good.
Okay, well, any other comments? I know we've kind of went round and round, but are there any comments specific to the motion that has been properly seconded by Terry?
Did we say that a second person at the table pays nothing unless they want to be a paid member?
Correct. Yep.
Then they
That
have
is
to pay 15, if I understand right.
Thank you for the clarification.
Oh,
Correct.
I don't like this at all. Go ahead.
That's okay. Not everybody's entitled to like everything. So,
And keep in mind too, I just want to make sure the reason we are doing this, and Jim knows this as well too, because we are trying to get more people in the Chicago area to attend the show. A lot of people who would want to attend the show would love to go to Cocoa Fest, but they don't want to pay the $15 or $20 to go, so then they don't come at all. So
Yep, I had one friend I know for sure didn't come because of the fee.
and I had one.
But
I
he
had,
didn't want
I had
to
a
do.
couple that commented to the president mailing address on the same topic. Okay, comments time's over. So I'm going to call for. I'm gonna ask for folks to signify. Give me a second here so I can bring up, so I can see everybody. Those in favor of making the changes outlined in the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.